On the 4th of July, the White House South Lawn was transformed into a grand stage, its manicured lawns and iconic columns draped in red, white, and blue. The air was thick with anticipation as dignitaries, lawmakers, and citizens gathered under the summer sun, all eyes fixed on the historic proceedings about to unfold. The South Lawn, already a symbol of American power and tradition, now took on new significance as the backdrop for a moment that would be etched into the nation's memory. It was here that President Trump, flanked by key members of his administration and congressional allies, prepared to sign a landmark bill into law. The ceremony was more than a formality. It was a carefully choreographed event, designed to showcase the administration's vision and resolve. As the president's pen touched the paper, cameras flashed and the crowd erupted in applause, marking the culmination of months of political maneuvering and public debate. This legislation promised to reshape America's financial and social landscape, introducing sweeping reforms that would touch the lives of millions. From the halls of Congress to kitchen tables across the country, Americans debated its merits and potential impact. Supporters hailed it as a bold step forward, while critics questioned its long-term effects. Yet, on this day, the focus was on unity and progress, as the nation watched history being made. The event itself was a spectacle of American pageantry. Military aircraft soared overhead in a thunderous flyover, their precision and power a testament to the country's strength. On the ground, a ceremonial handoff of the House gavel symbolized the transfer of legislative authority, while a parade of military personnel underscored the administration's commitment to national defense. Every detail, from the music to the seating arrangements, was meticulously planned to project an image of accomplishment and unity. President Trump took the podium, his speech weaving together recent military victories, record defense spending, and a hard-fought Supreme Court win. He framed the new law as the crowning achievement of his administration, a testament to promises kept and challenges overcome. The president's words were carefully chosen to inspire pride and confidence, linking the legislation to a broader narrative of American resurgence and leadership on the world stage. But the celebration didn't end in Washington. The administration took its message on the road, hosting a massive rally in Iowa that drew thousands of enthusiastic supporters. There, Trump called the law the greatest birthday gift for America, tying its passage to the nation's founding ideals of freedom and opportunity. The rally was a sea of waving flags and cheering crowds, a vivid display of grassroots support and patriotic fervor. By pairing a formal White House ceremony with a populist rally in the heartland, the administration amplified its message, ensuring that the significance of the bill resonated far beyond the Capitol. National news outlets broadcast the events live, while social media buzzed with reactions from every corner of the country. The dual approach was designed to unite Americans across political and geographic divides, making the legislation feel personal and immediate. Embedding the signing within the broader Independence Day festivities was a deliberate choice, meant to infuse the new law with the spirit of July 4th. Patriotic decorations adorned the South Lawn, and the sounds of celebration mingled with the solemnity of the occasion. By linking the legislation to the nation's birthday, the administration sought to give it historical weight and emotional resonance, casting it as a continuation of the American story. As night fell, fireworks exploded above the White House, illuminating the sky in brilliant colors. Military vehicles rolled by in a show of strength, while crowds waved flags and cheered late into the evening. These displays were more than just entertainment, they were part of a calculated effort to forge an emotional connection between the American people and the new law, making the moment unforgettable. In the end, this was political stagecraft at its finest, a masterful blend of symbolism, spectacle, and substance. By turning a legislative act into a national celebration, the administration not only marked a policy victory, but also reinforced its promise to deliver for the American people. The day's events left a lasting impression, ensuring that the signing of this landmark law would be remembered as a defining moment in the nation's history. At the heart of the new law is a sweeping $4.5 trillion package of tax cuts, representing one of the most significant overhauls of the U.S. tax code in decades. This legislation is being hailed by its supporters as a historic move, aiming to reshape the economic landscape of the country for years to come. The sheer scale of these tax cuts is unprecedented, touching nearly every sector of the American economy and affecting millions of individuals and businesses. These reductions, which were first enacted in 2017, are now being made permanent, locking in lower tax rates for both corporations and individuals. The administration and its allies argue that by cementing these changes, they are providing much-needed certainty for businesses to plan for the future, invest in new ventures, and expand their operations. The celebratory mood at the White House underscores the administration's belief that this move will be a cornerstone of its economic legacy. The administration claims these cuts will spark investment, job creation, and economic growth by putting more money in the hands of individuals and businesses. Proponents say that with lower taxes, families will have more disposable income to spend, fueling consumer demand, while businesses will have greater resources to hire workers, raise wages, and innovate. Supporters point to early signs of increased business confidence and stock market gains as evidence that the policy is working. Small business owners in particular are expected to benefit from reduced tax burdens, potentially leading to a wave of entrepreneurship and local job growth. Alongside tax relief, the bill dramatically increases federal spending on national defense and immigration enforcement, allocating hundreds of billions of dollars to modernize the military and strengthen border security. This includes funding for advanced weaponry, troop readiness, and the construction of new border barriers and surveillance systems. The administration argues that these investments are essential to protect the nation from evolving threats and to assert American strength on the global stage. By pairing tax cuts with increased security spending, the bill aims to address both economic and national security concerns in a single legislative package. This dual approach reflects Trump's core priorities, stimulating economic growth while reinforcing national security. The administration frames the bill as a bold response to the challenges facing the country, promising that a stronger economy and a safer nation will benefit all Americans. Supporters at rallies and public events echo these sentiments, holding signs that link job creation and security as intertwined goals. However, independent analyses warn the law will add $3.3 trillion to the federal deficit over the next decade, raising alarms about long-term fiscal health. Economists and budget watchdogs caution that the combination of lower revenues and higher spending could put unsustainable pressure on the nation's finances, potentially leading to higher interest rates and reduced flexibility to respond to future crises. The growing national debt is a source of concern for many, who fear that today's gains may come at the expense of future generations. Supporters argue that robust economic growth will generate enough new tax revenue to offset the debt, insisting that the policy will pay for itself over time. They point to historical examples where tax cuts have spurred economic expansion. Critics, however, call it a risky gamble that prioritizes short-term gains over fiscal responsibility, warning that the promised growth may not materialize and that the nation could be left with a larger fiscal hole. The debate has sparked intense political and public controversy, with passionate arguments on both sides. The bill fundamentally reorders America's financial commitments, shifting resources toward tax relief and security at the expense of other priorities. As the effects of these sweeping changes ripple through the economy and government, the true consequences, both intended and unintended, will unfold for years to come, shaping the nation's fiscal and political landscape for the next generation. A defining and divisive feature of the law is over $1 trillion in cuts to social safety net programs like Medicaid and SNAP. These reductions mark a dramatic shift, shrinking lifelines for millions of low-income Americans. Critics warn that millions could lose health coverage and face increased food insecurity, while the bill still adds trillions to the deficit. Opponents argue the law transfers wealth to corporations and the wealthy, deepening inequality and fiscal risk. Supporters claim the cuts are necessary for fiscal discipline and will encourage self-sufficiency as economic growth takes hold. The debate strikes at the heart of government's role: protect the vulnerable or promote individual responsibility. This ideological clash will shape political discourse for years. The real-world impact on families and the nation's finances remains to be seen. The bill's passage marked a significant and hard-fought victory for President Trump and the Republican Party, capping off weeks of intense negotiations and late-night strategy sessions. The atmosphere in Congress was jubilant among GOP lawmakers, who saw the moment as a testament to their ability to unite around a common goal after months of internal divisions and public debate. For many Republicans, this legislative win was not just about policy, it was a demonstration of party strength and a rallying point heading into a contentious election season. President Trump wasted no time in celebrating the achievement, calling it a historic fulfillment of his campaign promises and a turning point for the country. He praised lawmakers for their resolve and declared that the bill would usher in a new era of prosperity and opportunity. In sharp contrast, Democratic leaders held press conferences to voice their strong opposition, condemning the legislation as a massive giveaway to corporations and the wealthy, arguing that it would come at the expense of working families, seniors, and the most vulnerable Americans. The partisan divide was more pronounced than ever. Democrats warned that the bill would lead to increased poverty, millions losing access to health care, and a ballooning national debt that future generations would be forced to pay. They accused Republicans of prioritizing special interests over the needs of ordinary citizens and vowed to fight the law's implementation at every turn, both in Congress and in the courts. Across the country, Public opinion was deeply divided. Some Americans, particularly those who supported Trump, expressed hope that the new law would stimulate economic growth, create jobs, and put more money in their pockets. Others, however, voiced fears about the potential loss of essential services, cuts to social programs, and the risk of rising deficits. Town hall meetings and community forums became battlegrounds for heated debates, with citizens passionately arguing both for and against the legislation. Early polls reflected this uncertainty, showing widespread skepticism and anxiety about the law's real-world impact. Many Americans said they were unsure whom to trust, as conflicting reports and partisan rhetoric dominated the airwaves. The administration now faces the daunting challenge of convincing a wary and divided public that the bill will deliver on its promises, rather than deepen existing inequalities. As the dust settles in Congress, the fight over the law has shifted decisively to the court of public opinion. Protests erupted in major cities, with demonstrators demanding that lawmakers reconsider or repeal the legislation. Meanwhile, political commentators and advocacy groups on both sides launched media campaigns to sway public sentiment, making the law a central issue in the national conversation. Recognizing the stakes, the administration is preparing a full-scale campaign to promote the bill's merits ahead of the upcoming midterm elections. White House officials are coordinating with allies in Congress, planning town halls, media appearances, and rallies to highlight the law's benefits and counteract criticism. The outcome of this public relations battle could determine not only the law's future, but also the political fortunes of those who supported it. Ultimately, the way Americans respond to this legislation will shape both its legacy and the broader political landscape for years to come. The stakes are high, and the nation is watching closely as the story continues to unfold. The Iowa celebration quickly morphed into a campaign rally, with Trump energizing his base through combative rhetoric and attacks on rivals. The event, filled with fireworks and music, blurred the line between governance and campaigning, signaling that the political battle never ends. Supporters saw the bill as a promise kept, and a major victory, expressing unwavering loyalty. While some acknowledged controversy, the dominant mood was triumph and vindication. The rally's true purpose was clear: mobilize the base and showcase their passion. For Trump, governing and campaigning remain inseparable, fueling ongoing momentum. In Iowa, Trump unveiled bold plans for America's 250th anniversary, a traveling national state fair, the Patriot Games athletic competition, and even a UFC event at the White House. These proposals blend patriotism with spectacle, aiming to inspire pride and capture public imagination. The events are designed to energize supporters and frame Trump as a forward-thinking leader. By creating new traditions, he seeks to leave a lasting mark on American culture and identity. These announcements reinforce his brand of showmanship and political messaging. The promise of more spectacle keeps his movement engaged and looking to the future. In a surprising turn, Trump signaled openness to legal status for some migrant farm workers, acknowledging labor shortages in agriculture. He proposed allowing workers to stay if farmers vouch for them, balancing tough immigration policy with economic reality. This pragmatic shift aims to address a key concern for rural supporters while maintaining a strong border stance. It highlights the tension between ideology and practical needs in policymaking. Trump positioned himself as a problem solver, responsive to the needs of his base. With the law signed, Trump and Republicans face the challenge of convincing a divided public of its benefits. Their pitch centers on economic prosperity from tax cuts, promising more jobs and higher wages. But history warns that controversial reforms can trigger voter backlash if results disappoint. The administration must act fast, deploying surrogates, ads, and rallies to shape opinion before the midterms. The battle for public support will be fierce, fought across media and communities nationwide. The law's legacy and the party's fortunes now hinge on winning hearts and minds. Signing the bill on Independence Day was a calculated move to embed it in America's national story. The spectacle aimed to elevate the law as a patriotic renewal, but also deepened partisan divides. Supporters see a bold act of leadership. Opponents view it as politicizing a sacred holiday. The true test will be the law's real-world impact on the economy, the deficit, and vulnerable Americans. No amount of pageantry can mask policy failures, but a successful outcome could cement the bill's place in history. The 4th of July signing encapsulates the Trump era, audacious, polarizing, and unforgettable. Its legacy will be written by the American people in the years ahead.